Hey everyone, Meet Kevin here. You've probably seen some videos from Gardner before in relation to the next round of stimulus and what's going on in politics. Well, today, I'd like to watch one of his videos together with you and react to it. In this video, he reads a letter that I believe he's planning on sending to the president and Congress, and he summarizes what we're feeling and our emotions. Now, I have only gotten about 30 seconds into this, and then I thought, you know what, we should watch this together, so here we go. This is the reaction video. Let's go ahead and watch it together, and let's see what we think.
President Trump and members of Congress, my name is Gardner. I am writing you today as a concerned citizen of the United States of America. I am a husband, a father, a business owner, and a Christian. Near the end of March, you asked the American people to help flatten the curve of a virus. You asked as many as possible to stay home for 14 days. The American people banded together and followed the request. Congress then worked up and passed the CARES Act. The American people were given a small stimulus in exchange for their assistance in the lockdown. Then somehow the flatten the curve idea became the lock people down and remove their rights until we find a cure idea. I'm sure you are aware that close to 50% of the American population lives paycheck to paycheck. I'm sure you are aware that 50% of the population would have a hard time handling a $500 emergency. So how is this population supposed to handle being home for 75 days without additional financial assistance? You might say, we gave a generous $600 per week unemployment assistance on top of state unemployment.
I'm going to just pause for a quick moment there and say he's totally right. I mean, most of Americans need more help now. It's terrible because a lot of us get left behind by a system that rewards people who own real estate and stocks, which mostly disproportionately benefits the 1%. It literally means corporations and people who have some wealth become wealthier, and people with no wealth stay poor. The wealth gap widens when there is a crisis. He's absolutely right, because the government usually comes in and does too little to provide support. And that's why he mentioned, provided a small stimulus check in response to us staying locked down. He's right. Relative to the impact of the wedge that's being driven in our economy, $1,200 is small. The rich got way richer during this pandemic. Way more than $1,200. Probably hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's definitely disproportionate. Let's keep going here.
Some say this was too generous and will hurt the economy. Others say, thank you, this was good for me and my family. While others will feel cheated that they kept a job at lowered pay or lower hours. I know it is impossible to be fair to all groups, but the lockdown timeframe has gone far beyond many Americans' financial resources. President Trump, you ran on a platform of making America great again. For a season, it would appear America was thriving. However, now America is floundering. Unemployment is at 40 million. Millions are underemployed because they have been forced to take cutbacks on their hours. People are running out of food and running out of hope.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that a lot of us also have hope that our job is going to be there if we were laid off. And for many of us, our job might not be there when we go back to work. In fact, that's what the Federal Reserve research is showing. That's why the Federal Reserve says we need more stimulus. Because the people have hope that their job is going to be there. 90% of people believe their job is going to be there when it's time to go back. Yet, in reality, companies only have plans of rehiring 40% of the people who were laid off. This is absolutely terrible. Stephen's right. Absolutely right.
I read a report of an interview where you, Mr. President, lamented on how hard the decision to shut down a booming economy was. I am sure this was a hard decision. I am sure the damage has been far more reaching and more damaging than even you expected. However, if you fail to act now for the citizens of this great nation, your legacy will be the president who did not step up and help his people during a national crisis.
I could not agree more, honestly. And I'm not trying to take sides here. Y'all know that I don't take sides, Kevin. But the reality is, this would be the best opportunity for any president, whoever's the president, left or right, to come in and say, hey, look, more support for the people who need it. And it doesn't have to be everyone. You know, the income limits can be changed. You talk about it doesn't have to be $2,000 a month. You know, maybe we go with $1,000 or heck, $500 a month. Just something. There needs to be more support, especially to get people out of poverty. I mean, think about it. If everybody received $500 a month, or at least people in poverty receive $500 a month, you would instantaneously eliminate poverty in the country. And all that's happening right now is we are compressing the poor. That is, more people are becoming more and more poor as it kind of gets shoved into a box that's already really compressed. It's messed up. It's messed up.
You have asked us to do our part as a country. The country is now asking you to do your part to help us. Get money to the people so that it can flow to the businesses. Get jobs going again so that people can provide for themselves and their families and take pride in their work. To Congress, and especially the Senate, please try to see through the eyes of the American people. In our hour of need, you went on vacation. In our hour of need, you said, let's pause and see what happens.
Yeah, that's a good point. This shouldn't have taken off from Memorial Day, and the continuous talk about pause, I think, is frustrating many Americans right now.
Well, look what's happening now. For the American people, it seems that we paid you to abandon us. Do you know how humiliating it feels to feel like your government abandoned you? On the Statue of Liberty, it is written, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free." Well, we are tired, and the lockdown is making us poor. We are huddled together as families and as citizens, as humans yearning to breathe free. You have the power and the resources to jumpstart this great nation.
It's true. I mean, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, he's sitting up there going, come on, Congress, I got the money printer ready for you. Come on, folks. We're not worried about it causing hyperinflation, and we're not worried about long-run debt. We got the money printer. Just tell us to activate it, and we'll keep printing. It's true. It's what economists are saying. Economists are saying, look, more stimulus or Great Depression. I've made videos about this. I sometimes probably get too detailed in my videos, but there you go. This is true.
In the Declaration of Independence, we read, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." George Washington fought for his people and alongside his people. Yet today it feels as though the government has forgotten what it's like to fight alongside its people. Jerome Powell of the Federal Reserve has shown more than enough empirical data for you and all economists to see that the country is sliding into depression, both financially and mentally.
It's a good point. You know, it's not just the financial impact; it's the mental impact to our society. This is not an easy time for people who do not have a lot of money, and that's where we have the wealth gap. Again, you compress people, the poor, into the poor box. It's terrible. Like, it's almost impossible to get out of. It's almost self-fulfilling. Once you have to move because you have no money, or you lost your business, or you lost your job, once you have to move into a poor area, guess what happens? Poor schools, poor education, less financial literacy, lower college graduation rates, lower college attendance rates, lower high school graduation rates, which means a lifetime of lower pay. Trust me, I read everything the Federal Reserve does. Every time the Fed moves, I make a video on it. I think those of you who watch me know that. But yeah, that is a good way to put it. Let's keep going.
We need you to show your support for us now. Money to the people is money to the businesses. If you give money to the people, they will spend it, and cash will begin again to flow to small business owners that employ nearly half the country.
The only problem with this is it's not what happened with the last stimulus check, which is a problem. Now, I'm not saying that spending won't happen, right? Usually we see when we spend $1, that dollar turns into $5.6 of velocity in the economy. It's kind of like if I go spend $1 at the hot dog stand, that guy spends it on something else and he pays somebody and blah, 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 blah. Basically, that dollar moves through the economy 5.6-ish times. That's good. That's really stretchy. When we put our money in the savings account or we pay off debt, the money only moves through the economy about 1.4 times, which is bad. And unfortunately, with the last stimulus check that happened, most of us, the majority of the money didn't go into the economy, whether it was through Amazon or any kind of spending or whatever. It actually went into savings and debt payoff. In fact, we became a society of savers. Now, that could be because of uncertainty, right? Like, well, we're gonna save up and hoard a little bit because it's like, we don't know what next month is gonna bring. We don't know how long we're gonna be in lockdown. Fact, very, very true. But it sends a bad signal to Congress. And I think that's something that, if Congress reads this letter, which hopefully they do, I think it's a great letter, it's important to hit on that as well. Like, hey, don't worry, Congress, like that, we will spend the money. It will come. It's just delayed spending. It's just unfortunate that report came out because it doesn't look good for senators or representatives looking at or considering another round of stimulus. So that's an unfortunate part. But yes, ordinarily, we would spend the money. Ordinarily. Now, for the rest of the video, I encourage you to check out Steven's channel. It's great, it's touching, it's moving. I wanted to add some bits to this, and hey, overall, I think this is a great message, and I hope it goes far. So hopefully you appreciate my input, and hey, thanks for watching over here as well. We'll see you soon.